makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagelia de Ravin.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of speaking with Christiane Constantineau. Christiane is a Canadian CFO and entrepreneur known for her expertise in cash flow management and strategic leadership. From her humble beginnings in a small town near Ottawa to founding successful companies like 6DT Consultant, Christiane's journey is marked by resilience, global experience, and a passion for mentoring others in business. Good morning, Christiane. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for being here with me. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. So your journey from a small town near Ottawa to becoming a C-level executive, it's incredibly inspiring. So can you share with us the important moment that propelled you from facing health challenges early in life to leading successful business ventures?
Okay, where do I start? Actually, I'm a very resilient person, so I like challenges. That's the first thing. My husband always say, there's nothing big enough for you not to be challenged with. So I when I started, I was living in a little town just beside Ottawa, and because I've learned English, because I'm French, by the way, so I'm a French Canadian. So I learned English. So that was the first step because it opened more doors to more opportunities. So I was called by this organization in Ottawa to work with an international organization to help small businesses, researchers in developed countries. So I started there, and I just took opportunities. I started as an assistant. When there was something, there was a posting in Africa, I applied for it. I didn't get the first job and I learned from that. So I said, okay, those are the questions I'm not supposed to answer that way. So I got more prepared for the second one, and which was much better as a job, by the way. So the second one was a fantastic job. I was living in Cape Town in South Africa. And wow. But I always take opportunities, and I would prepare myself to make sure that I knew. I would actually prepare myself. I would be the interviewer to ask these questions. So I was prepared for all the questions to have all the answers. And then at that job, I did something that was the second one I applied for. There was something that was bugging me. So I don't think I should have answered that way. They were talking about there was a question about work in progress and how do you account for that and everything. So I went back to them and I said, I think I didn't give you the right answer. I was very humble. I gave them the real answer afterwards, and they finally gave me the job. So sometimes you have to dare a bit, and there was the first time for them to send a mother of two that was divorced. I was getting a divorce, by the way. They knew all of that, so I was very sincere with them. So I was going to Africa, started to be there alone without my kids. They sent my kids after, but so I was very humble to get the job because the fact I was being a single mother with two kids. They were young kids, by the way. For them, it didn't matter. They really look at the person. They say, okay, this is the best person. We're going to send over there. And I stayed there for the whole year. I stayed for about a year, but I did a bit of audits, and I did one audit, and prior to that, I think it was in Egypt. So I just stepped over on another project. And then when I came back, I decided I love traveling the world. So I said, I'm going to quit my job. I quit and then moved to Montreal. I didn't have a job. I didn't have nothing. So, but like I said, because I was bilingual, so that opened more opportunities.
More doors.
More doors. So I did get an interview at the biggest fund manager in Canada, which is called the CDPQ. So I got a job there as an assistant again. I started at the bottom, went up and I also did my bachelor's degree at the same time. So I completed.
And plus raising two kids.
Yes.
Wow.
I did my bachelor's degree, and after that, I did post-university degree in corporate finance, and I did my MBA at the same time as I was finishing one. So I did. So, but you need to be organized.
One after another, yes.
You need to be very organized. So I mean, like, I know people that would like be drowning and stuff like that, but me it was easy. And I also needed something else to do than just, because my son was very sick at the moment. At that time, he was very sick. He had what's called Wegener's disease. So he was having a lot of treatments, and I needed something than just thinking about that. So, and I wanted to show him everything was possible in life. So that's the kid that bought my business. So
yes.
So I showed him like everything is possible. I mean, you're sick, you're going to get through it, but everything is possible. So I did that, and after that, I went to work for a corporation in Quebec City. Moved to Quebec City. Because my son's treatment were very difficult to manage. All the side effects were very difficult to manage. He was missing a lot of school. So I moved from Montreal, from a big city to a smaller city. And then where the hospital was close by his school. So for me, so I had to take that opportunity. So I had no choice. He would flunk school. And he was sick at the same time. So I had to make that choice. I said, okay, we'll move the whole family to Quebec City. So we did. And I did want to see my employer. And I said, I think I have to move to Quebec City because I think it's the best thing to do. I don't know if it is. So, but can I have a job over there? There was no jobs. I said, we'll create one. So they did create a job for me. And so I moved there. So within a month, everything was sorted out. And then after that, I worked for small businesses for about, we would fund small businesses, startups, mainly startups. And I was new in Quebec, I didn't know any clients. So like I said, you have sometimes grab opportunities. So
yeah.
I had these colleagues, they wouldn't do a type of financing because they looked at it, they were too sure how to do the packaging, the finance packaging. I would go, yeah, I'll take it. So, and I'm funny because I took all these opportunities. I was able to create a whole portfolio of $1 billion easily within a few years.
Wow!
So that was because I took the opportunities and I listened to my clients. I always listened to them. That was important for me to understand. And then when I left, I had only lost 2 clients. They went bankrupt, just 2 of them. Everybody else just survived. They survived all the economics problems in Canada and everything. So this is, and when you take the opportunity, you have to think like of all the pros and cons. You don't go and take something and say, okay, I'll do it. But you have to think about it. It's the same thing when we moved the family to Quebec City. I was still single at the time. My husband, I met my husband in Montreal, but he was a guy from Quebec. So, but you have to think about everything. So, okay, what are the pros and cons, and how to delegate stuff, because I did delegate a lot. And but when I had cancer, it was more difficult because it was my business. So, but I still had to let it go. Just let it go, and then trust people and identify the best person. You don't pick anyone, but you just identify the best person. So I finished my MBA, and then after that, I said, okay, I went to see my boss again, and I said, okay, I finished my MBA. So what's in for me? Because I studied 2 years, so I don't want to have the same job. And he goes, oh, well, I'll send you back to Montreal. I said, oh God, I don't want to go. No, I just got married, I just got married. I said, I'm not moving my family again. I said to my husband, I said, oh yeah, I'll start my own business. So I what I did is I took a few contracts as an employee, and I learned a lot about even more. I grabbed more information as I could, and then I became a consulting firm. So I started my first company, which is called Turbulence. Because I was always in an airplane. So I started my company as an international consultant. So I came back a bit to what I did when I started my life. So it's something I knew about. So
like when you went to Africa.
Exactly. So how to deal with not client, but partners overseas, or partners in the country with different, I would say, different cultures. It's not the same thing as, and I did make mistakes, by the way. I remember in Africa, I did make mistakes, and I learned from that, So I remember I put a Canadian flag on my desk, and I said, I'm not going to put a Canadian flag. Remove that.
Remove it.
Because we were financing the project. I said, well, put a Canadian flag, Nope.
No, that's not going to happen.
And I also did things that didn't go well because, for example, I said I want to have a policy for non-smoking, a non-smoking policy, because we had a building with non-smoking building, and I said I want this, and no, it didn't go.
No. That doesn't work here.
And we did have a lot of sexual harassment, so that was difficult. So but that one I said no. So this one I'm going to put in place, and you have to abide by it. I said I'm not going to let you harass my staff. So that was difficult, but I also had to let go of good people because their behavior was not acceptable. And I did add for a few phone calls from people that were pretty mad. And at one point, I went back to my apartment, and there was these two big guys in front of me, and I go like, Ee. So they told me, no, you're going to have to take them back. I said, no, I'm not taking them back. They changed their behavior, maybe, but they're not changing their behavior. No.
You stayed up with those two big guys?
I was shaking like a leaf, I just walked in my building. I was like, what did I just do? I said, I've got enemies now in Africa, So, but, sometimes you have to stick by your values, You gotta, and I knew if I pushed it, I was going to have like a lot of resistance. But that kind of resistance, I didn't look at it that way. So I think people would just stop. I know they would still continue. So, and then when you have an employee that's sick all the time, you have to ask yourself, why is she sick, Sick. So I did ask her, I said, what's wrong? Can I help you with something? So, and then I started crying, and she told me the whole story, and I believed her. So I said, okay, well, it's going to have to stop, So, and this is in 1995, that's a long time ago.
Long time ago, yeah.
So I was going by my own belief and said, this is what we have to do, and I'm going to abide by it. So, and I did.
And you did.
Yeah.
But now, the company you have, which is the first company, could you tell us about the inception of Turbulence and the vision that drove you into electric transit system space?
Oh yeah, I started my company. The first thing I did was to send, because a lot of people knew me as a banker, an investment banker, a commercial banker, but they didn't know me as a consultant. So I said, I'm going to send like Christmas cards. So I sent Christmas cards. I said, I'm starting a new business if you need me. And I was like, the phone couldn't stop ringing. And I said, okay, I'm going to pick the 2 or 3 clients I really want to work with. So, and I was lucky. The client approached me, said, Christiane, be prepared in March. 3 months later, I'll have a big project for you to manage, which is a semi-autonomous type of electric system in the Calgary airport, at the Calgary airport. So I said, okay, I'll do that, and I'll help you with that project. And then we had lots of partners. I had to deal with partners, accounting, suppliers, funding.
Wow.
So and then human resources, and it was. And I remember at one point one of the partner was there, and it was not very a nice person with the staff at the project. And I said, this has to stop, because my best assets are this
staff.
So it's the staff. Don't stop annoying them, because you're annoying me. So you're annoying me. So it's not gonna finish very well, on a good term. So he finally did. He did change. He didn't phone them directly. He would call me first, or call the owner of the business first. And if I wasn't there, it was me. And then at one point there was I went to Saudi Arabia, because there was a big convention about aluminum. The biggest convention in the world is called Arab Aluminum. So we went in Saudi Arabia, and then while I was over there, the assistant, one of the assistants at the client's site in Quebec, She lost all her data. I said, okay, the accounting data. Said, okay, let's not panic. We've got suppliers to pay. I can't do my cash flow without knowing what's in the accounting system or not. It has to be. I said, okay, let's not panic. We'll find a way to do it because. And I was very meticulous. I did do a backup of everything. So we started with an old backup, but it took about a month to bring back live. And I said to myself, it's never going to happen again. I'm never going to use a server or a computer. So that's when we moved to the second company, which is called 6DT Consulting, to be more in the cloud. So having companies that use the cloud. Sadly, I don't think there's. I think they're still using the old system. My client there, I was there for 2 years, by the way. 2 years on the same project. It went very well. So at the end of it, it was a very successful project. And it was different. So, I remember, like, Saudi Arabia was fine. We went to Bahrain, just across the bridge there. So we went to Bahrain. And it was more difficult to work with the owners of one of the big company there because I was a woman. But in Saudi Arabia, they didn't look at me as a woman. They looked at me as a business person, which was different. In the other country, they looked at me as a woman. They wouldn't talk to me. They wouldn't look at me. And then my client would say, I don't speak English. She speaks English. We have to talk. So I said, okay, come on. We have to find a way to communicate. So I said, you have no choice. You have to talk to me.
But how do you feel when things like that happen? Because someone chose not to talk to you because you are a woman, even you are great at what you do.
But sometimes... But you have to be respectful, okay? Their own belief, you have to be respectful for that. Except when it's something that's illegal, like harassing the staff or sexually harassing staff. That's illegal. So there's no way to get over that. But I said, okay, so I'm going to bring them back and say, okay, if we want to find a solution with your problem, because we did have some equipment there that were not functioning, so we have to find a solution. I'm the only one that speaks English. And then there was another guy also. He said the same thing. I was the number person. He was the technical side of the project, and I was more like the numbers. So they finally said okay. But they were like kind of not shy, but they just asked very specific question, which was okay. So I said, as long as we get something and it's positive, we get out of there, it's positive. So that's fine. So that was a tough one. So from all the projects I had, that was tough because they're not looking at you, so they don't want to talk to you. So.
Yeah, but I think that by now you think people will change, It's so many women are not doing. We're smart. We go to school. Yeah.
It's a banker. You go to the bank and they ask you, well, can your husband co-sign the loan? So
really, what do you think? I cannot pay for it.
When I started 6DT, I asked for a credit card, and he said to me, I said, before this is a good advice, by the way, before you check my credit bureau, make sure I don't need my husband to sign. Ooh. I had told them that. And this is about 10 years ago. And he did check the bureau. We was not supposed to do it. And they asked me he asked my husband to co-sign. And I said, really? So finally, but the guy didn't know he was talking to, because I had worked like so many projects. And then one of the projects I work on, I had to meet this guy whose name is the president of the bank. And then I had a personal phone number, and also had this, I wrote to him. I said, this is insulting. You know me because you've seen me as a CFO on another project. So I asked the guy specifically not to do this and not to do that. And he did exactly the contrary. So it was insulting. So, and I said to him, I said, before I go too further, I want to have because I have to tape everything. So I said, I want to listen to the tape. And I did listen to the tape, and I did ask him not to do that. So finally, they fired the guy, not the business, but the manager that was managing this guy. So they fired a few people. I said, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. But I can't believe 10 years ago,
10 years.
people still asking businesswomen for the husband to come sign.
Yeah, and this is the biggest bank in Canada, not the small one, the biggest one. So
wow,
I was like, "Are you crazy?"
Still?
Yeah, so I closed my account. So I did close my account. Went to my own bank I had like many years ago, because sometimes when you open a bank account for your business and a bank account for your personal stuff, you have to separate. I always say separate both, because sometimes the manager, once he looks at your file, he's going to look at your personal information. They're not supposed to do that, but
they do it anyway.
I think they do it anyway. I believe they do it. So I like to separate things. But what I did is, it's not working with the second bank, the biggest banks. I'll go to the second one, which was my personal banker. So I opened everything, gave me a credit card, no problem. So guys, they asked nothing, so which was fine. So it really worked for about 10 years. So now I moved everything back to more like closer to my where I live now, because I moved. I sold my house and I moved to another city. So, but they shouldn't be doing that. Even when
it's make us feel for so long we have been fighting. We've done so much in this world, and you still need a husband to come and sign something, even when we can prove that we can do it on our own. Like
it's true, and then
it's a big account.
My husband bought a car at Volkswagen, so he bought a car. 3 months later, I had an accident, so I had to buy another car. I went to the same dealer. So I bought my own car. And so there was a second car in 6 months. We're buying full price. Okay, there was
wow.
And a guy said to me, "I need your financial reports." I said, "Why do you need that? That's my corporation. That's nothing to do with this. This corporation is one thing, and me." No. I said, "Well, take your car and keep it. I'm not giving you anything." So I was walking out the door. I said, no, don't go. Well, I said, "I'll do your credit report." "No, you don't do that."
I'm paying you cash.
I just bought a car, like one of the best cars that Volkswagen can do. I said, "You're crazy. My husband is okay, but me, you have to do a credit card, credit check." "No, you don't." So I finally
I don't get it. Why are you doing a credit check for something I'm paying you cash for?
Yeah, no, it's not. I wasn't paying cash. I was having a small loan. But still, I said, it's the same bank as where I do business. It's the same thing. So why do I have to give you all this information? So if the bank is the company that loans you the money, they will reject me if I'm not good with my own personal cash. So finally, he didn't do the check. I didn't do nothing, and I walk out with my car.
This is fascinating.
All the time, you have to not fight. You have to believe it.
Yes.
Something doesn't make sense. You gotta say no.
Stand up for yourself. Exactly. Stand up for yourself. But now let's talk a little bit about your current company, which is 6DT Consultant. So can you tell us what is it about, and there's any meaning behind 6DT?
Oh, it's a shortcut for 6 Degrees of Turbulence, which is a song my kids really like. So 6DT is 6 Degrees of Turbulence. From Dream
I was wondering, yeah.
From Dream Theater. So it was a short for that. And then I just add consulting. But I want something to start with 6, because I want to be as high as possible. When I was adhering to a club or something, it usually goes by alphabetical order. So numerical alphabetical order. So I knew my name was going to be on the top. So that's why I used the number 6. So I said to the kids, I gotta find a name. So one said, you should, name it.
Is that your lucky number?
Yeah, no, not necessarily, but yeah, I think so. So I started that, and then we started doing consulting for, because there was a big market for Intuit in Canada. The biggest market for small, medium businesses in Canada was Quebec, the province of Quebec. And they weren't there. They were doing a bit of businesses in Montreal and everything. I said, if I want to grow fast, I've got to look at the market. So the market was was very big. Their space there wasn't used by Intuit. I said, I'm gonna be an Intuit Pro Advisor, a QuickBooks Pro Advisor, and then I'm gonna start with them. We did not a partnership, but they did talk about me. They did talk about my business and everything. So we had a shared goal of to be more present in that market. So that was about 7 years ago. So now it did shift. It shifted to more like QuickBooks is now more used in Quebec because it's bilingual. It's French and English.
Yes.
Because then it wasn't French. So I said, if you want to be in that market, except from Montreal, everything is French. Montreal is bilingual.
Sure.
Big cities are bilingual, but if you go like Sherbrooke, Alma and stuff like that, it's very French. So they did all the recommendation. I told them, I said, you got to go and translate the software, which they did. And then after that, I used a lot of their own software to be recognized as one of their best consulting. So I'm on the top now. So I'm still on the top. There's a software where people would say, when we do train, people would say, okay, do you want to do a recommendation on this software? That's what it. And I went up very fast. But I always say I don't ask everyone to do it because I would just crush the market. I would just be like 1,000 people in front of 1,000. The second one would be at 6 recommendations. So at 48, I said I think I'm fine. So I always end up first when they're looking for a pro advisor. So what we do is do training. Because remember when I worked for the international organization, training for us was very important. Transfer of knowledge is very important. So I said, I'm going to start with there and say, people are not dumb. They know what they're doing. So what we're going to do is start training people to use the software. And after that, after 7 years, we decided to use the same software, but with cash flow management.
That's right.
Because I've seen like horror stories and stuff like that. So I said, okay, now they need somebody to help them with cash management. So we're using the same software with an app. And we recognize one of the top 10 in Canada, and then I think in England also for the software we use. So and there's a demand. People they want to be to do their own stuff and learn at the same time. And I recognize that. So I said, okay, there's an opportunity there. We'll still help them to close their books. We help them close their books. We don't do any more accounting stuff. I sold that all the bookkeeping. I sold to Matthew, my son. So Matthew does the bookkeeping. I only do the cash flow stuff. Sure. And I can see opportunities. It's the same clients. And I say, okay, maybe you should do this way, or maybe you need a loan, or you can use like financing that's very cheap to do, like for example, like government funding and stuff like that. So I do see opportunities. So I do help them to do that with their business, So and for them that's a lot. That's a lot for them to, and it's not that expensive if you look at because we don't have a big office. We don't have a big. Well, I just have everybody has a MacBook in my business, but we don't have a lot of equipment and stuff like that. So I can lower a bit my prices. Even though I was told by big CPA firm, they said you could be higher. So because they were too high, I was too low. So I finally increase my prices just a bit last year.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit. So because I do startups, you have to be smart when you do a pricing, So I do have two pricing. I have a pricing for companies that have 5 employees and more because it's more complex because of payroll.
Yes.
And we have other startups below 5 employees. So I do have a price for these people, and I explain the difference because people say, "Oh well, why don't I pay this and different?"
But it's helpful, because when you're first starting a company, money sometimes is tight, and I'm guessing you know that because you started 2 companies and you help others as well. So you know that money can be tight sometimes. So you having 2 different prices is just helpful for business like me that's already going up, that has many employees, and small businesses that just starting. They knew maybe a year old or even a day old, they just need your help. So they might not have the funding to pay you as a company that have 20, 30 employees. So I think what you've done is great.
And you have to make sure that your client is capable of paying you. So if you have an exorbitant price, they're not going to pay you because they don't have the money. And also, the difference between the two pricing is like the spread between the two it's for me it's like a publicity cost. Okay, because they're going to talk to their friends, they're going to talk to their because they usually all these startups, they usually go to take an entrepreneurial startup class, at the university or something. So they're going to talk to their friends. So there's a cost to that for me. But it's a publicity cost because they're going to bring more business.
More clients to you. Yes, I love that. You're thinking in the long term. You're not thinking in the short term. In the long term, that will bring me more clients if I do this, which is the best advertising when your clients go advertise you instead of you spending a bunch of money on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, I don't. I've never spent money on Google, Facebook, LinkedIn. No, never. So I never spent money for publicity. It's like organic publicity for us. It's using our own clients. And then, also what I do is I use Google Alerts. So all my clients are on Google Alerts. So where something is big happens for them, like one of them went to the Dragons, the Dragons Den. I send him a note. Congratulations, blah, blah, blah. I did that. So to be alert of what's happening with your client, they do appreciate that. So,
I love that.
Yeah, the onboarding process for me, so it's the same thing. Google Alerts, set up everything as possible, get the information fast, so we can start fast, So that's the difference. So it's a copy and paste. My business is you have one client, you copy to another one, copy to another one. It's the fastest way to do it. And then you can spend more time I wrote a book, so I can spend more time in walking my dog or go outside, leave early the office, and it's the same revenue.
Live a life.
I live a life, to get a life.
But that also brings me to your books, to your book, Cancer Sucks. You provided a resource for entrepreneurs battling long-term illness, right? So what key insight do you hope readers will take away from your story?
I wrote the book because I asked my husband, I said, okay, my husband is rich, by the way. So when I say something like that. So my husband is rich. I do have the knowledge because I've got master's degree and I've got a post-university degree, and I have a lot of experience. So for me, having this type of problem, because I saw it as a big, huge problem, like I call it bad client. You can't get rid of a bad client. You have to manage it. And because you want to be paid, or you want to, you don't want them to be a nuisance to your reputation. So. So I said, okay, I'm going to look at it as a project. So I said, okay, what can I do and manage this problem in my own business agenda? But you have to think it's not for everyone to do, okay?
Yes.
So some people, they do have to take care. They do have to take care of themselves first. Okay, the most important thing you have to think as a business person, you've got you've got cancer. You've got to think the first person you have to think is yourself. Don't think of your business. It's you'll find solutions. So I did find solutions and everything. So I said to my husband, and I had a wonderful sister, by the way. She lives very far away from here, and she's a very wonderful person. So she came in as a general manager, and then my son came in, and then everybody pitched in.
Everyone come and help. That's amazing.
Yeah, I did. Everyone came and helped. But I did read a few years ago that the husband had to take care of his wife, and she had cancer, and then she passed away. And then a few years later, he passed away. Nobody helped them because they had nobody to ask for help, Yeah. So I said, I'm going to write a book where it's easy to put in place a plan of action. Say, okay, if you have you have to think in terms of money, you've got to think in terms of time, because your time is going to be, your agenda is going to be crushed,
Yes, that's true.
Crushed. And I do give insights about my own experience, saying I did underestimate one thing. It's not the money. the treatments I had. It was time. My time. I said, okay, I'm going to do my. I was going like day by day. I said, okay, I got to do like these treatments, these chemo treatments. And after that, I had like radiotherapy. And and then before that, I had my mastectomy. So I always look at it as on the short term, not on the long term. But the worst side effects I had was from the last treatments I had from radiotherapy. It was the worst thing in my life. My brain wasn't there. I was not functioning. So it took me about 18 months total. So at the beginning, I thought, 6 months going to be over. So it takes more time. And you have to be gentle with yourself. So you have to take care of yourself first. And I did, but I did underestimate a lot of these, the time management, Yeah. And then, and also, one of the thing you have to surround yourself with the best of the best. So my sister is the best one in her field. Okay, she's a manager. So I said, okay. She came in. She said, I can't charge you. I said, I want to pay you. And don't insist.
Sound like my sister.
I said, okay, I'll take it. So, but you have to do these things, and then you have to think out. Okay, so if somebody offers you help, is it good for you? If it's good for the business, okay. But if it's good for you, then take it. So if it's free, just take it. And then and also the book is to give like hope, So hope. It was breast cancer, by the way. Well, I had mastectomy, so it was breast cancer. So there is hope these days. They work. And then what I did is I find out who my doctor was. So I Googled her, and I said, oh, she won a few prizes, but she was also recognized as the best doctor for her patients, for her patients, because she was tough with the students. The medical students, she's the tough one, because my nephew said, ooh. But I said, no, we have a different, it's not a student relationship, I'm a patient, So I walked in the first day. My husband is there. He says, she needs to quit her job. And I was like, I can't quit my job. It's a company, I manage a company. I quit, and I can't quit. I was close to $1 million in revenue. I can't quit that, Just don't do something
like
that.
Too much hard work, yeah.
And she looked at me. She said, what do you want to do? And then because just a few seconds before I said, "Oh, congratulations! I knew you were recognized as the best this and that." And she was so humble. I said, "Oh, you look up for me, you check me out." I said, "Yeah, I did." So we developed this relationship with all the staff, all the staff that were working on my treatments, to make sure I was, for them, a priority.
Okay.
And then after that, when you get that and you've got the okay from the doctor, because I needed the okay to do that, she gave me a lot of okays. Just one, she said, no, you've got to cancel that. So, but I did share my agenda. I said, is it, so I've got a trip coming. So can I take it? No, it's not a good idea. Just cancel everything. So you got to be open to talk about your personal life. And then she also shared her own personal life. She said, Christiane, I'm a doctor, but I still have to clean my house. I don't have I do my own cleaning, So we shared this kind of bond together, because she was like an entrepreneur, but paid by the government. But so she knew my situation. But you have to open, you have to tell everything, So. And even at one point, it's even if the husband doesn't want to, it's your choice. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not his choice. It's because he wants to take care of me. He didn't want to leave his job. I said, no, not leaving your job. I won't have you all day at home. No way. We don't start our middle life like that. It's going to be like a cat and dog fighting all the time. So I said, stay. When you're ready, you're going to quit your job, and then we'll talk about it. So don't rush things, So, and then also, but like I said, you have to. The first person is to talk, and then you have to also tell. Like my mother is very religious, and then sometimes she talks too much about God. It just drives me crazy. So I had to tell her. I said, if you want to have a conversation with me, we have to talk about. You have to talk about yourself, myself. God he's going to wait until after my treatments because I'm going to be more patient there. So,
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. So it's going to have to wait until after the treatments. So, and then but you have to tell people, so what you want, what you don't want, because it's your life. You're fighting for your life. You're not fighting for your business. So I was able to do all of that. And a year after, I decided to write the book and say, so just to give like a bit of tricks, and things, what to do, what not to do. Like for me, I bought a house during my treatments. Don't do that. So I didn't exercise a lot. And one of the best treatments is exercise. So you have to exercise. Yeah, one of the best treatments. So
I didn't know that.
Because they say the studies say there's 4 things that can cause cancer. It's alcohol, stress, obesity, and then not eating well. So if you put all of that together, it's going to explode at one time. So one of them, the exercise, because I had radiation on my lungs, so would have helped me to heal faster, because I wasn't walking. I should have walked at least 30 minutes a day. I wasn't doing it. I was doing it from time to time, but I was getting exhausted because when I was going out for a walk, I would do it like an hour and a half because I felt terrible not doing it, nothing.
Doing it before, yeah.
But my batteries would go too low. So you have to do it every day, and then it's you're going to heal faster. And
when you said not eating well, you mean like not eating 3 meals or not eating the right food? What is that exactly?
Not eating well is like, you eat while you're working. That's you have to eat, like you have to, it's a special occasion. Okay?
Take the moment to eat your food and enjoy it very well.
Yeah, enjoy your food and eat. Have a conversation with someone. Don't start on your computer. It's the same thing for everything has to do with the cell phone, iPad. Just leave them out of your bedroom, okay? Because you're not going to sleep well because of the noise is going to wake you and stuff. So now you're not going to sleep well. So if you want to rest a lot, so just keep it out. A bedroom is just for 2 things: sleep, and sex. So.
She just went all the way with it. Let's just make it straight here.
Everything from there. So you got to think so because your brain is going to know, every time I go in my bedroom at 2:00, I wake up and I check my cell phone. It's going to do that. Your brain is going to do that. Yeah. So it's repetitive, So this is, so you've got to put in you've been a business person, and when you start, sometimes you don't count the number of hours, So I don't know if you remember, sometimes work 70 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours,
Sometimes you don't even remember the last time you even get out of the computer.
Yeah, or you forgot your vacation. Or you forgot to tell your husband, well, I'm going to have to work. I went to Alaska and I had to work during my trip to Alaska. So he looked at me and, what are you doing? I'm just working just a bit, But he's very he lets me do everything I want. But still, you've got to separate your business life from your
take the break, enjoy it with the family,
and then you eat well, eat more fruit, so eat more vegetable. I would say vegetable first, fruits later, but eat more vegetable, less green. I still eat meat, but more like red meats. So just reduce it a bit, but. So the more you're in shape, the better you get over all your treatments. So your cancer treatment. So like I said, I should have done it and drink a lot more water. I drink coffee, which is okay, but I don't like water. But anyway, so you drink more water to get rid of all the toxins and everything out of your body. So these are the things I've learned from my experience. And
that's what people will learn in the book as well when they read that book.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then sleep better. Like to sleep better, don't put your cell phone there. And then it's just read a book before you go to sleep. Not on iPad.
Yeah. Even with my school, I study in my PhD, and then my school always give the books and. an ebook, so you get to read it on your computer. And I told my teachers, I can't do that. I can't be I can't spend my whole day in front of a computer running my business. And after that, I need to go in front of another computer just to read a book. So I usually have to have extra money for myself aside to go to Amazon or wherever else I can find a book. So I buy the print copy so I can have the print copy with me. So that kind of take me away from the computer. So I get the point. I get to sit there and read a book like I'm reading a real book when I was a kid, which is what was fun for me.
And I still do. I'm very, everything is virtualized in my business, but I still have a paper agenda. So I do have a paper agenda. When I go to meetings, I take notes, and then I come back and I put it in my client's file. But I still take notes because I need to write. I need to do because I need to have my brain working. This is important when you're sick, because when they give you like a chemo medication, it's the whole body, so sometimes it affects the memory. My memory was so bad. And I remember the day, it was almost a year and a half later, it just came back. I was like switch on, I was like, hey, what happened to my memory? It went away for a year and a half and now it's back,
Wow.
I needed to do something.
Just like that.
It just came back, not 100%, okay? But it came, at that moment, a lot came back. I said, okay, it's... because it was not a memory, it was not a memory problem. It was like the thinking, so it's the way you think, I had to think differently, and because I was always thinking the same way, so I had to struggle with my memory. So, and then I finally just came back. So now I'm okay. So, but still, I still have to work a lot. So I do take like Spanish courses. It helps you having a second language. Does help for your memory. I do like Sudoku and stuff like that. But it's just to get away from the computer, get away, and then just get a life, So other than that, or we play games, board games and stuff like that. So that's another
do something different.
Exactly. So you gotta spend that time as a business owner. You gotta think as yourself first, like being sick. You have to think of yourself first. So is it good for me? If it's not good for you, then if you can delegate to someone. Okay, don't. And then sometimes people say, "Oh, I have to learn how they do it." No, is it important for you? If it's not, just delegate. Think about that, and you're gonna be more productive. Because your head is going to be, okay, it's out. It's a little box in my head. I just give it to someone. It's in somebody's head now. It's not in my box anymore. So that's a way of helping your own body to go after such a big. It's a shock, by the way. Okay, it's a mental shock because you lose a breast. So it's a big mental shock, and then it's also a shock because you don't know if it. I remember the day when I walked out the doctor's appointment, and it was a big tunnel. It was a dark tunnel. I didn't see nothing else. And my husband was talking to me. I didn't listen to him. So I said, okay, you've got to focus. Where do I start? I said, okay, today's not the day. So I went back home. I didn't sleep, but I didn't sleep a lot. But I said, okay, tomorrow morning, I'm going to start writing. What's my plan? What's my game plan? And then I beat the odds. That was my plan, because when the first doctor I saw, she said I had liver, lung, bone, and breast cancer. So
Wow.
I said, I think they make mistakes. Sometimes they scare you. They scare.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And then so we went through all the steps. I said, I'm gonna wait for all the results before panicking, And then everything carried on, and I spoke to my staff. I gave them, because at one point you're going to lose your hair, So
yes, that's true.
But you have to be honest. Even clients, I told the client, I said, I can't take you. I got like chemo coming. He said, no, Christiane, we want you. We still want you as our coach, And a year and a half later, my head started, my hair starting to grow back, and they saw me the first time in a year and a half. He said, "Oh, Christiane, you look so different." I said, yeah, well, I don't have a mask. was recovered. I don't have a mask, and I have my own hair, So, and they showed themselves because we were doing like
Zoom
a Zoom training session. So they showed themselves. We started all crying. So the three of us were crying. I said, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Why did you hide behind it?" He said, "No, we wanted because they saw me just sometimes, not all the time, but they wanted to respect that." I said, "Okay." So and then we cried for an hour after that. So because I never met them. So just spoke on the phone, and then we decided to go ahead, and they were respectful for that. So, and I told them, I said, I might not be available, and I'll try to be, but if I'm in the hospital, I'm not available. So, and then one of the things I asked my doctor, I said, how much time after you get chemo, how much time can you be up and running the same day? Can you do your own laundry and stuff? And she said, no, you're going to be knockout for the whole 3 days. So I said, can I have that on Fridays? So I had all my treatments on Fridays. So on Friday morning.
I love it. So from Friday until Monday, you can go back to normal.
I was back to work, so I only worked 4 days a week.
Cool.
So I was
cool deal.
Yeah. So, and the same thing for the other treatments I had, which was the radiotherapy. I asked them to be the first one in the morning. And then I told them, I said, I told them why. I said, I don't want to cut in between meetings and stuff like that. So I need to be. So they put me first in the morning. So, but you have to ask.
Yeah, you have to ask.
They're gonna put you at 2:00 in the afternoon. So,
yeah.
So you have to
pretty much when you have something like that, you need to plan your own life around it. So that I think that when you give up, you don't do anything anymore. That's when your body feel like, okay, well, I guess I'm ready to die or something. But if you just plan things around your schedule, keep on moving, keep on doing things, even if you're not doing it in the same pace you are doing it before, but you are keep on moving. You're letting your body knows we're not giving up yet. We're going to go through this, and we're going to keep going through other things we are going through before that even happen. So that gives your body and your brain that thing that, hey, this is not the end. This is just a new beginning.
But you're saying something very important. The best doctor is your brains. So if you think positive, if your mindset is positive, you want to beat it, you can beat it. You can see it. Look at people that do triathlons or Olympians and stuff like that. They have one thing in mind. Is one goal is to get there, So you got to think like that. So, but if you're always, I don't want to say pity yourself, but if that's not a good word.
Negative.
But if you're exactly, if you're always negative, you bring in thoughts that are negative. So that's not good. So you got to think positive. You got to say. And at the end of the day, by the way, I only had one cancer, so
not all of them.
See, you made a mistake, But you still have cancer, Christiane. I said, I know, but still, it's one. I don't have to beat one, not 4 of them, So
yeah.
So you do have to think like that. You have to always be positive. We all know at the end of our life we will have paid taxes all our life. We're also going to die, but it's just you decide when you want to give up on it.
When you're ready for it.
Yeah, so you're the one that decides when you want to give up, So I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to. I have kids. I didn't want them to be without their mother, They're not kids; they're young men now. But still, I didn't want to. So I said no. I said I'm not ready to give up everything. And then I had doubts when my doctor. She said to me, Christiane, you don't have cancer anymore. Okay. I said, don't we have to go through a 5-year phase? She goes like, think positive. I said, yes. She said, think positive. So and then they do ask you to do that. The doctors now, they ask you to think positive because they know it's working. So
it is working, yes. So now how can people reach out to you, especially for your company?
If they want to reach, I always didn't like my name and surname, my last name, because it's too long, But the best way is Google my name, and you're going to find me easily because there's only one person that has this name. So on Amazon, I'm the only one. Even on Facebook, Facebook, I think there's 2 of us. There's 2 of us. But so you can Google my name and you'll find me. Put Christiane Constantineau at Canada, and it's gonna pop up in Canada. what I want to do, my next phase, it's not sell books. I don't sell books. Is try and help people. So I'm starting a community on Facebook called Cancer Socks, and I want people to because that was one thing. There was a group that was created on Facebook, which was French, was exercising. So I got on board after after I found out that I needed to do more exercise. But it's the community sometimes can help. People
Yes.
and there's a lot of Facebook groups, so you can use and then chat and then talk about how you're feeling and then so why you're exhausted and stuff like that. So this is what I want to do because it does work. It does your brain is gonna think like more in a positive way, and then hearing other people's story that they perceive that they did it. That's great.
They
story.
fight and win.
They fought like they did everything to do to make sure they would survive cancer. So I was saying that my doctor, she said, but I didn't believe her when she said she had this stage 3C because I was too close to a 4, So in Florida, stage 4 is like there's nothing you can do. So, but I did look up all my files at the doctor, and then it was written she's going to fight for it. But it was stage 4, it was still a 3C. And then, but I think they know what you gotta believe in the science. I do believe in science. Okay, by the way, I was not gonna. And everybody thinks different. There's different type of thinking about that. But I do believe in science, and it's okay if somebody doesn't believe in it.
Right.
But if you believe in science, then let the science to do the job.
Let them do their job. I think that's for me. I looked at it regardless. You believe God gonna save you from this, but I think that God created people like that to create science in a way that to help you, because He can't be there to help everybody in this world. That's the reason why He has us on earth to help one another, to support one another. And I think science is one of them, They are there to support you in time like that. You need to trust that what they are doing can save your life. And just like God can also save you too. I think that if God needs to pop up and then do some magic for you, He will. But if another human being can guide you and take you to the right direction, why not? That's when people talk about Jesus. Why did God need Jesus to come preach to you when God exists, right? So He put another human being in front of you because He wants you to trust another human being. So I look at science the same way. We need to trust that science was created in a way that to support humanity, not to destroy it.
Exactly. And you got a very good point. My sister 2 weeks ago, she called me and then she's scared of doctors and stuff like that. And she probably waited too long and she has cancer. So now they're trying to see if she has a terminal cancer or not. And then the only person she wanted to talk is me because of my experience, but also because of my sister. And then every day she writes to me, okay, and then she's very strong because she knows I'm there for her. I said, if you need to, because she doesn't live close by. She lives in Thunder Bay, which is up north Ontario. So I'm going to fly there and see her. And she knows I'm going to be there all the way. And this is positive. This is very good. And then so having somebody that went through the same experience, it's good also. And by the way, I'm writing a second book, 2 more books. One of them is the stories about many people that had cancer. And how they see life today. One of them, he said, Christiane, I'm just gonna bite in life like I ever did. I always thought some of them were business people, some of them were professionals, but he said to themselves, I want to do as much as I can because I know this is my second chance, I said, this is great, So and he's helping like young kids to achieve in school and stuff like that. So he's helping kids and stuff like that. So that's the way you have to think. So you have to think I always say there's somebody that's watching over me, okay? And then, but I've got all my family and stuff like that that's helping me. So you have to create this environment. Your beliefs also in there, your motivation, and you got to trust yourself. So
yes.
like I said, first person is yourself. I don't want to say to be selfish and start screaming at people, I want this, I want that. It's not the point, but you think about yourself first. So is it good for you? If it's good, then do it. If you don't think it's good, then don't do it. So it's up to you to decide, but it's your life, there's nothing else.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for giving me that chance to talk to you, to get to know about all the work you are doing. You are such an amazing woman. And to beat up cancer, stage 3, almost to stage 4, and keeping your business going. And it's amazing, and also you take that chance to share it with other people. Not everyone do that, they go to something and they go share with others to keep them alive too. Not everyone. And like you said, also one thing you said is trust yourself, love yourself, and be positive. These things will keep you going in hard times.
Be gentle.
Yes.
Be very gentle.
Well, thank you so much. And I look forward to having another conversation with you, because I feel like I can have at least 20 more.
And I look at your magazine, by the way, it's such a great place. I didn't know about your magazine, but it's such a great place for women to have discussions and learn about other people. You have mentorship programs and stuff like that. This is such a great place. And then I think what you've created is remarkable, by the way. We do have things like that in Quebec, but it's not as structured as that. You've got a very wide offer of services, which I really like, so by the way. So continue the good work, and then hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.